This is the second video in our information literacy series. Many organizations, including companies, lawmakers, individuals, take advantage of us because we're not information literate. They're in fact expecting that we're not paying attention, we're too busy with our daily activities, running back and forth to work and dealing with family and other issues and paying bills and watching stupid shows on TV, and that we're not seeing what they're doing to us in regards to how they manipulate the information that we see. One example of this is when you buy a new phone. Most people in the United States have a smartphone these days, and most of them do not look at one of the first steps in the purchasing process, which is you buy the phone, and then when you're trying to activate it, they show you terms of agreement, and in fact a license to use it, and most people just blow through all of that language and just check off, okay, I'm ready to use this. And what they don't realize is a typical phone agreement actually has you give permission to the phone manufacturer and sometimes some of the other companies involved in phone service to collect information on how you use that phone. So they're basically watching and recording where you are using that phone, what you are using at the time, how you're using it. And a lot of people, if they paid attention, wouldn't be that comfortable with that amount of violation of privacy. Another example of taking advantage of our lack of information literacy is the agreements we sign with banks or credit card companies. Large national banks have you, again, sign sort of a usage agreement, a license, to open up an account or a card with them. And these agreements often include arbitration clauses. Arbitration means that if the bank does something to you that's damaging, like they lose your personal information or they lose some money or something like that, you waive your legal right to take them to trial in a lawsuit, and you agree instead to go to a third-party arbiter. Now, these arbiters are hired by you, really. You're paying for them, but the bank is choosing them. And so you might think to yourself, wow, I don't really remember hiring an arbiter before. And that's because you probably have not. So if you're an arbiter, right, you're getting 99.9% of your business from these large national corporations. And you know that if you rule against this particular bank, they're probably not going to give you business anymore, and then you lose money for your own house, for your family. So do you think they're really going to rule in your favor? It's not likely. So what can we do about this? A lot of people think about this issue and then they just give up because they feel helpless about it. But this is not really true. When you're buying a phone, you can always ask to agree to see the agreement ahead of time. And so you can peruse this, and if you see that there's privacy violations or other things that you don't like about this contract, then you can select a different company. Unfortunately, if you already own the phone and they're just changing the agreement as they do when they update the operating system, there's not too much you can do if you already own the phone or if you're locked into a contract with them. When you're opening an account for a bank or a credit card, you can always choose the bank that has the terms that you like. So, for example, if you don't like a big national bank's terms like Bank of America's, then you can look at a local bank like Ion Bank in Connecticut and see maybe their terms are a little more accepting of the average person and a little more comfortable for you. And then finally, as a citizen of a democracy, if you live in the United States or another democracy in the world, you have the right to speak to your lawmakers at many different levels. So you can petition them and lobby them at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level, and talk to them about the issues that are important to you or disconcerting to you. Or you can even start a nonprofit organization to fight against some of these changes or laws that you think are wrong. So if you think that arbitration shouldn't be legal, then you can take all of these steps to try to get it wiped off the books and no longer law.